Taking care of our environment isn't just an important concept for us here at the City of Durham. It is a guiding principle for much of what we do as we build and manage city facilities. But how do we decide what takes priority, what initiatives to undertake, and what goals to work toward? It takes careful planning, intentional action, and a clear vision of what sustainability looks like in everything we construct and use now and in the future. Welcome to City Life. I'm Beverly Thompson. Joining me to talk about this important topic are Summer Alston and Amy Armbruster. They both lead the city's sustainability efforts as we do our part to protect and save our environment. Welcome to you both, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
It's great to be with you, Beth.
Great. So, Summer, let's get started with you. I know you lead the city's sustainability efforts. And overall, what is your goal when it comes to building and maintaining the city's properties?
So we exist in the General Services Department for the city, and the General Services Department is responsible for constructing, operating, and maintaining high-quality city facilities that are visually appealing, but also sustainable. And we do that using all the divisions within the department: facilities, project management. We work with the departments across the city in partnership with the combined goal of increasing our energy efficiency and improving the renewable energy use in our city facilities.
Okay, all right, thanks for that. So Amy, I know we've been on this journey for quite some while trying to achieve our cleaner energy goals. Give us an overview of what we've accomplished so far.
Sure, I'd be happy to. You're right. Durham has been working towards sustainability for a really long time now, but it all got started in 2007 when the city and the county, they came together to build something called the Local Action Plan for Emission Reduction. So building on the momentum of that plan, the city actually added sustainability to our strategic plan, and they rolled out something called the Sustainability Roadmap, the Roadmap to Sustainability. So that all led us to the Carbon Neutrality and Renewable Energy Action Plan, which the City Council passed in late 2021.
Okay, so that was a great start. Then what are our clean energy goals now, and how was it impacted by this first plan?
Oh yeah, so the Carbon Neutrality and Renewable Energy Action Plan really sets forth two bold and ambitious goals. It makes us a leader in this space. We're one of the first communities in North Carolina to commit to 100% carbon neutrality in city operations by 2040 and 100% renewable energy sourcing in city operations by 2050.
So, I'm going to ask you this. What does carbon neutrality really mean?
Yeah, carbon neutrality is one of those words that you hear a lot and you may not know what it means. And it is really the cornerstone of this city's work in sustainability. So carbon neutrality is really balancing the amount of carbon emissions that we produce with the amount of carbon that is sequestered or absorbed. And so really what this looks like is reducing all of the things that produce carbon emissions or greenhouse gas for the city.
An example would be?
And so something that would produce greenhouse gas emissions would be our city fleet, our transit buses that burn diesel and fuels, or it could be from our buildings that use Duke Energy electricity or natural gas to power those facilities.
Gotcha.
All of those things produce greenhouse gas emissions, our carbon. So to get to neutrality, we really need to reduce those emissions and to absorb some of that through renewable energy.
Wow. Thank you
You're
for explaining that
welcome.
so well, man. So Summer, tell me why working toward these goals is just so important.
These goals are super important because climate change affects everybody's quality of life. And the city recognized very early that both the community and humanity as a whole needed us to be focused on these things. And so increased resiliency, reduced energy consumption, and better health outcomes are, is what we gain by this focus. And that's really important in Durham because low wealth communities and communities of color disproportionately are impacted by climate change externalities. And so that's why we center equity and environmental justice in all of the sustainability work that we do.
Wow, that sounds like it's really kind of leading the way in that effort. I don't know if many communities actually consider that on the whole when in their sustainability
It's an
efforts.
important way to frame the work.
It really is. So, Amy, I know this is no small task, that the city is undertaking, and not that we're just throwing ideas and spaghetti against the wall to see what works. But tell me how we're being intentional with our efforts and our money, because I know that even to buy an electric car is so much more expensive than a regular car, but it has an impact.
It has a huge impact, that's right. So I mentioned the Carbon Neutrality and Renewable Energy Action Plan. That plan was unanimously passed by City Council because it is so important and it does impact quality of life. And that plan really, it guides all of the things that we do. That plan has 4 overarching goals as well as 36 action items, which we'll implement over the next 30 years.
Okay, so we have time.
Yeah, and to your point about finances, a lot of this work does cost money upfront, but over time, it actually can save the city money through things like reduced electricity bills and some of these reduced impacts that Summer's talking about.
Okay, so Summer, let's just break down some of the strategies that we're talking about. I mean, the first one is maximizing energy efficiency in our city buildings and throughout our operations. So what are some of the specific things that we're doing or have done even to achieve that?
So energy efficiency happens to be a very low cost carbon reduction technique. I mean, it's the thing that anyone can do. And so it's natural that our plan starts there. And so the Carbon Neutrality and Renewable Energy Action Plan spells out right at the forefront that energy efficiency in city buildings and operations has to be where we start. And so the goal that we have is to reduce our energy consumption by 30% by 2040 in city buildings and operations. And to do that, we're doing things like, 1, conducting evaluations or energy audits of most of our city facilities, if not all of them over time, to identify additional strategies. We are also greening our fleet. That's a lay people way of putting it. But
That would be me.
It's also, like Amy mentioned before, looking at what we have as fuel-fired HVAC systems and the vehicles that we operate, and trying to remove that fossil fuel element from all of them. And then the third one that we most recently are wrapping up is converting 47 of our city facilities have had the lighting converted to high efficiency, or what we refer to in the industry as LED fixtures, which are much, much more efficient. And actually the 47 buildings that we've most recently converted, the estimates there are that we could be saving taxpayers as much as $200,000 a year in energy expenses.
Wow.
So it can benefit us in that way over time as well.
Pretty impactful. For sure. So, Amy, I know the next strategy is expanding renewable energy generation and procurement. So, what are we actually doing toward that?
Yeah, this is a big one. So I mentioned before that Carbon Neutrality and Renewable Energy Action Plan includes a really bold goal for renewable energy, right? Renewable energy would be sourced at 100% by 2050. But there's actually an interim milestone goal that's even more ambitious, right? We have set out in this plan and committed to renewable energy sourcing at 80% by 2030.
Wow.
That's in 7 short years. So
my
you
gosh.
are very quickly going to see some big changes across the city. And so what that looks like is solar panels on city rooftops, on city properties. It looks like large scale, utility scale solar fields that reduce the amount of greenhouse gas emitting fossil fuels on our electricity grid and makes electricity cheaper for all of us. It also means a healthier environment, cleaner air, right? You're taking all of those fossil fuels off the grid. That means that we're going to have better health outcomes. But one of the things I definitely want to mention is that all these new solar panels mean good paying green jobs for our community and reduced energy consumption for our city. So that means we're saving money that we can put toward other programs to help our residents. So you asked how we're going to get there. We have this big, bold goal. We have 3 big initiatives that we're working towards the 100% renewable energy goal now. The first one, as I mentioned, you're going to start seeing solar panels all over the city rooftops, city properties. We're going to build a lot of solar panels, and we are making good progress already. We already have solar arrays on our sign and signal shop, on our fire station number 17, and coming in January, we're going to be putting online a new solar system in general services where I work. So look for more of that. The second program that I wanted to talk to you about today is actually being headed up by our water management department, and they are investigating ways to harness the gas that's produced at those water reclamation facilities and using it to power city operations, which is incredibly cool technology. So I can't wait for that one.
That's going to take some time though, right?
It's going to take some time. And this third one that I wanted to tell you about is going to take some time, but it is going to give us an absolutely huge leap forward for our renewable energy action plan goals, and that is our Green Source Advantage. So Green Source Advantage is a really innovative, unique partnership that the city, the county, Durham Public Schools, a local solar developer called Quaker Creek, and of course Duke Energy, we've all partnered up to build a large solar field. We're talking 34 plus megawatts of clean, green, renewable energy that we're adding to the grid. That's going to reduce the carbon footprint of our grid, and it's going to make it cheaper to add solar power for all. So to give you some sense, Beverly, of just how huge this is, remember I said we've got that 100% renewable energy action plan goal?
Right.
This plan, this greenhouse gas emission reducing Green Source Advantage is actually going to get us about 50% of the way towards our 100% goal, and it'll come online pretty soon in 2025.
Wow, how impactful.
It's huge.
In a short amount of time.
Durham should be really proud of this. We are one of the only communities in North Carolina making this commitment to renewable energy.
Okay, all righty. So Summer, the third strategy is increasing the electrification of our vehicles, which includes both our fleet and our public transit. So how are we going about achieving that?
So Beverly, greening our city fleet is creating a healthier Bull City. That's the simplest way to put it. That means greening both our light duty passenger vehicles in the immediate sense, as well as our transit fleet, and eventually getting to the heavier equipment over time. As we do that, we're removing all of the fossil fuel driven vehicles and over time transitioning to all electric. And we have the goal right now of transitioning all of those light duty vehicles to all electric by 2040. And we've started that. We're well on the way, and we'll be installing the infrastructure that goes along with that. The coolest example we have right now is that we actually have our police department piloting 2 brand new Mustangs that are all electric, and we're really, really excited about those vehicles being out in the community, and there's a lot more to come.
All right, we look forward to that. Okay, so I know that as part of those efforts, we'll have to have enough charging stations to take care of the public fleet that we use, as well as what residents might need, because they really need to be able to charge their vehicles as well. So what are we going to do about that? What is the plan?
So adding electric vehicle infrastructure is a national priority. So clearly it's a priority here in Durham. And specifically you're asking about of course, we'll have enough for our fleet, but
Yeah.
how are we involving the public?
Right.
So, as very recently, North Carolina committed $6.8 million to add infrastructure across the state, and they're focusing on areas that are underserved, but also on main traffic corridors.
Yeah.
And Durham will be a part of that. The private sector is going to also be key in this space because as more vehicles come online, there will become a profit motivation for private entities to build charging infrastructure that people can access. Our residents will have plenty of public options. The city will play our role. For example, we have chargers today in public parking facilities with many, many more to come.
Yes.
And those will be focused in places that are high traffic and easily accessible to residents, like parking facilities, parking lots, recreation facilities, including a couple that are going to come online soon at Hillendale Golf Course and Rock Quarry Park, for example.
Is there a charge?
Today, there is not a charge. However, this is a utility. Electricity is a utility. And so there is a strategy being developed for how to recoup that utility cost in the future.
Okay, but for right now, it's free. Okay.
For today.
For today, okay. So Amy, I know the final strategy is establishing innovative carbon reduction strategies and
Yes.
community partnerships. So what are some of the things that we're doing for that?
Yeah, this one is so important. We've talked a lot today about our carbon neutrality and renewable energy action plan goals, and those are really going to transform the city from top to bottom, right? We're going to be more sustainable, more resilient, but we know we can't stop there. So our new proposed comprehensive plan actually envisions a healthy, resilient, carbon neutral city that's prepared to weather the impacts of climate change. We also know that that is going to mean huge changes, right? We envision retrofitting the built environment, electrifying the built environment, changing the way we get from point A to point B by electrifying our vehicles. And we also know that all of these impacts are going to get hit hardest in our low-income communities and in our communities of color. So we're really prioritizing our planning around those communities. So 2 programs that we're working on now as part of this strategy that really embody this work are the Healthy Homes and Green Jobs Partnership and Solarize the Triangle. So Healthy Homes, which wrapped up last year, was a really innovative partnership with many community partners that weatherized or made a lot more energy efficient 28 homes in the Bragtown and Merrickmore neighborhoods. It also added green infrastructure in those areas to 32 homes. And green infrastructure is things like rain gardens or adding gutter to help those residents better deal with flooding on their property. One really cool part of this project was that a lot of that green infrastructure was actually installed by Durham Public School students.
Oh
They're
my
in
gosh,
a green
really?
technology
Amazing.
training program. Yeah, so they've got job skills that they can put on their resume, and our residents are much better prepared to deal with increased flooding that could be caused by climate change. The second program I'm really excited about, we just won an award for Solarize the Triangle. And this program is really a community-wide effort. The city, as well as 10 other governments across the triangle, have come together to put forth this bulk purchasing plan. And really, it's designed to put solar on sale, right? So what it does is you buy a lot of things, and so the solar panels for each resident or each business becomes cheaper, about 25% cheaper. So it's really designed to put solar panels on rooftop and add battery storage for a lower cost. This program was really, really successful last year. We actually finished the first phase in December, but look for the next phase, phase 2, coming soon this year. One really amazing part of this partnership that I want to make sure to mention is that we know that even though solar is on sale through the Solarize the Triangle program, that our low-income residents may not be able to afford it, even at a discount. And so we have been working with our partners, our city governments in this program to actually provide free solar panels to a limited number of Durham homes so that they can have the benefits of renewable energy as well. And these solar panels are going to be designed to actually reduce their electric bills by about 50%, which will have a huge impact on their family budget.
Yeah. So, okay, you're talking about costs, and I have to ask you, all of this sounds like a really expensive upfront investment. How do you balance the cost of all this with the return, the benefit overall?
Good question.
You pretty much stated it, Beverly. There will be upfront investments and they will be significant, but most of what we're working on will actually pay for itself over time or even result in cost savings. And so that's part of what motivates our work, is that we know the upfront investments will pay off in so many different ways in the future. And of course, this is a national effort. So the city will be leveraging every bit of innovation and technology because things are still advancing. And we'll be relying on, federal funds, state funds, private funds, public-private partnerships, and anything else that we can do to make it cost effective for the residents as we make this clean energy transition.
I'm glad you mentioned about this being a national effort, because I'm going to ask you, I would imagine a lot of viewers are thinking, well, Durham is doing this and the Triangle might be doing this, but what impact does it really have on the world? And reducing, carbon.
You bring up a good point. I characterize it as a national effort. It is actually a global effort. Globally, everyone is having to work on this. Nationally, it is a priority of the current administration, and it is certainly a priority of the Triangle because the Triangle is so innovative by nature. Solarize the Triangle, for example, all of the partners that are in that work understand that this area of the Southeast is going to be a leader in this, and that climate change will impact our folks based on the storms that we've seen recently. And so, yes, you're right. It's a global effort, and I should have framed it that way.
Oh, no, that's okay. I was just wondering, how what we're doing is going to have such a huge impact. And it sounds like we're all working together. We're all in this together, right? Yeah. So if I'm at home, I'm wondering, okay, what can I do to reduce my own carbon impact?
I am so glad that you asked that question because you're right. The city really is stepping up. We're doing our part. We're doing a lot. But this really is an all hands on deck effort. And there are some small, low cost things that our residents can do to really impact this problem, to reduce the amount of carbon that they produce. And so I've got a couple of different ideas.
Okay.
Some of them are really low cost and easy, and then some of them require a little bit more time and investment. So some of the easy things, if you haven't already, Bev, the cold water laundry detergents, they have come a long way. They clean clothes beautifully without having to turn on that hot or warm water. So you can run it in cold and your clothes come out looking great, but you're also saving money on your energy bill and you're reducing your carbon footprint.
Okay.
Another pretty easy thing, this weekend, go up, find your hot water heater. If it's set to much above 120 degrees, go ahead and knock it back a little bit. As long as it's set to just a little bit over 120, you're gonna get a nice hot shower in the morning, help you wake up, but you're gonna reduce your energy use and reduce your carbon emissions. It's pretty easy, right? We can do this. The next thing to consider is a little bit harder, but I want you to consider swapping one trip for transit. Just one every week. And so there are lots of great resources out there. Go Durham is actually free to
Yes.
hop on the bus. And there are a lot of people at Go Durham, very friendly customer service reps who can help you plan your trip. But just swapping one trip from a drive alone vehicle to a transit trip can have a huge impact. Now, if you can't take a bus, maybe you can bike or walk, or get a little exercise in there, a little added benefit. Or if none of those work, you can ask your boss for an additional telework day.
Sounds like a good idea.
The city has taken great leaps, not intentionally, but very impactfully in terms of the number of cars on the road and the emissions associated with
Absolutely.
that, because we have been very
important.
privileged to be able to have a flexible work policy, and that always contributes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, so two other things, a little bit harder, a little bit bigger investment. If your hot water heater or if your furnace is about on its last legs, consider an all-electric heat pump version. My furnace just died in my house, which I know no one wants that to happen, but I actually installed an all-electric heat pump and it works beautifully. That old technology that I think people might have been a little bit hesitant to try, it has come forward by leaps and bounds.
Wow, that's good to hear.
It is a little bit more expensive, but with the new Inflation Reduction Act, there are really good tax credits that in my house, it actually costs about $1,000 less to install a heat pump versus a natural gas version. My last one, a lot more expensive, but a huge impact on your carbon footprint. If you're in the market for a new car, consider an electric vehicle. If you have a relatively new roof on your house, less than 10 years old, please check into the Solarize the Triangle program. It can provide renewable energy on your rooftop that actually reduces your energy bills and takes a huge bite out of your carbon footprint.
So, how do you get in touch with Solarize the Triangle?
To learn more about Solarize the Triangle or any of the city's work in our sustainability space, you can always visit the city's Sustainability and Energy Management Program website, webpage, and that is at durhamnc.gov/822. And we will link all of the information from there. You can also track our progress because, as you heard, we have lots going on and lots of ground to cover.
I love your enthusiasm. It's just contagious. And thank you guys. Is there anything else you'd like to add as we close out?
I would just like to say thank you. I'm so pleased to live in a community and to have administration and elected officials who are innovators in this work. It makes it great to come to work every day, and it makes me very proud as I, as I work with people in the community and as I interact with my neighbors, to know that we get to work on this part of all of the things that make Durham great.
Yeah, and it's having such an impact. Thank you both so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We have
It
to
was a
have you
pleasure.
back to see what kind of progress we've made in a couple of years.
Absolutely.
All
Thank
right,
you, Becky.
great. Thank you. Well, that does it for City Life. Don't forget to follow us on social media, watch us on Durham Television Network, and on YouTube. And now you can listen to our podcast on iTunes as well. I'm Beverly Thompson. Thank you for joining me to learn more about city life in Durham.